Is your dog secretly struggling with anxiety? I'm going to go into this in a bit more detail and give you some tips on how to help. So, welcome to my podcast. If you're new here, my name is Dr. Helen. I'm an emergency medicine doctor and also a certified animal aromatherapy specialist and behaviourist. And I love to help people with an integrative approach to their health, whether that's human or obviously our wonderful pets and mainly dogs. If you like what you're listening to, please hit the follow or subscribe button so I can carry on creating more content for you. And if you would like to get a consultation or essentials into your life, then please check out the links in the show notes and feel free to contact me so that we can have a little chat about your particular needs and find out what option best suits you. So, on with the show. So, this topic really came about because I was on a Facebook group and someone was talking about their dog lacking focus in the agility ring. And I actually said, oh, because all the hallmarks of sort of anxiety this dog was displaying, not all of them, some of them. And I said, oh, do you think your dog might be lacking some confidence? And that's actually why they haven't got focus. And they were like quite adamant that their dog was very confident and it wasn't a problem. But you see, sometimes this is how dogs manifest lack of confidence. If you think about someone who perhaps is over the top, in human terms, and it's often because they've got that sort of low level anxiety that actually manifests in a different way. So I thought this was just a great topic. And obviously one of the things we want our beautiful dogs to be happy and confident and full of life, and often without any, what's the word, despite our best efforts, our dogs can be struggling, and it's really difficult. And like this poster in the Facebook group, that you may think that your dog isn't anxious, they're just naughty or they're lacking focus. But actually, a lot of these behaviors are actually your dog's way of telling you that they're scared or overwhelmed. And triggers aren't always visual and auditory. It can be aromatic as well. And our dogs live in a world of scent. So it's something that we really can't appreciate. And an unknown scent may in fact be the issue. And I'm just going to touch on this really because one of my dogs, my Springers, has been really, really sick, and I'll cover that in another podcast. But he came home from the emergency vet yesterday, and I've got a blind dog, and obviously he'd been in the vets for over 24 hours, so had all these different smells on him, medications and things like that. And so actually, when I let him into the house, my blind dog was crated for several minutes. And then I only got her out when I was happy that she'd had a really good smell of him, because otherwise she could have reacted to him, which wouldn't have been great, because she would have had all the aroma of, this unknown scent, vets and things like that could actually have upset her, because she does have a trigger is actually ultrasound jelly, believe it or not. That's another story. But anyway, let's just look at some of the things that an anxious dog might be displaying, because it's not always obvious. I mean, obviously we see them maybe shaking or hiding under the bed during a thunderstorm, but there's lots of different ways. So they may be sort of more of a Velcro dog, very glued to your sides, even when you're just moving between rooms. Are they restless or pacing? Do they struggle to settle? Are they looking to find a comfortable spot? Obviously, that can also be a sign of pain, and a lot of behavior problems are actually linked to pain. So that's really important to make sure you're getting vet checks as well. Excessive vocalization. Is there a lot of barking, whining, or howling? And it doesn't have to just be what you would think of sort of scared. So one of my dogs, I know, is quite anxious, but she actually won't display it in a traditional sense, but she spins a lot and she barks a lot, but she's actually very underconfident. Destructive chewing. Are your shoes, furniture, or door frames falling victim to chewing, particularly when left alone? So chewing can actually be quite a calming thing for dogs to do. But if they're being quite destructive with things, that's a red flag as well. Accidents indoors, especially when you're out, can be a sign of distress, not just a toilet problem. But obviously that can also manifest if you've got a dog who's perhaps in pain. Maybe they can't squat as well outside to go to the toilet, or perhaps as they get older, they do sometimes struggle with incontinence. So it's always important with any change in behavior that you do get a vet check. Are they reactive on a leash? Lunging, barking, or pulling frantically when seeing other dogs or people on walks is often rooted in fear or overstimulation. So again, I see this a lot out as well. And I've had dogs sort of charge at us, and the owners are saying, oh, they're just being friendly. And they are not just being friendly. We actually had a really awful incident a few months ago, and it was an off-lead dog charging up to us, and this dog was air snapping at me, and the owner was telling me this dog was just being friendly, and I was like, this is not being friendly. This is actually your dog's behaving aggressively. Your dog's air snapping at me. And the owner just hadn't recognized these signs at all. And so, this is a problem. This all was obvious that it was a sort of a dog that was quite anxious. Some subtle signs, such as yawning, lip licking, or showing sort of the whites of eyes and things like that, are all signs that say your dog is uncomfortable as well. And it's always good to just have a bit of look at calming signals, and Google sort of the ladder of aggression as well, because this gives you all the signs that dogs can display when they're feeling uncomfortable. It's something I educate a lot with, certainly on dog bite prevention as well. So if you don't address these things, then the constant stress can genuinely impact your dog's physical health and even shorten their lifespan, because actually stress shortens our lifespan. So when your dog is anxious, it creates a stressful cycle. They feel fear, they act out, and often they get corrected or isolated, which then reinforces their negative associations. And it's very hard for you, the owner, because often you don't know what's going on. Every walk becomes a dreaded event. If you leave the house and they're acting out, you feel guilty watching your dog's world shrink is really heartbreaking. So I actually had, my beautiful blind dog. She wasn't able to go for a proper walk for 8 months, and it was a real shame that she couldn't enjoy the outside. And again, this is the same with a lot of the dogs that I actually deal with that come to me for help. And I get so happy still, several years on, at seeing how excited she is when I get her lead and harness out, because she is genuinely wanting to go for a walk. She is scampering around the garden, so happy. And this just makes me so joyful, because I know what a difference that is from how she used to be, with her feet firmly planted on the ground. She didn't want to go near the door, and so it was like, okay, that's fine. And unfortunately, what happened when she wasn't able to go for a walk, her behavior in the house got worse. Because there is a limit to the amount of enrichment games in the house that you can do in place of exercise. Exercise is really good. And she didn't have that same experience just from being around in the house and the garden. And I would drive for twice a week to a secure field, which is 40 minutes away, just so she could get a walk. Otherwise, she didn't. But the key really is understanding the root of their anxiety and approaching it with empathy and the right tools. And once I started to do that with Inca and started to utilize essential oils to calm and build confidence, then we were able to embark on a behavior training program, and our progress really took off. And this is the way I use essential oils with this. And you want to use them in conjunction with behavior training, because this is how you're going to get the most effect. So when this all started, I was really quite alone and sort of feeling my way. But, I've got all these skills and I love to help people help their dogs. And you can teach your dog how to be more confident and calm. And so what I like to do is approach it, like I said, with some easy to follow strategies. And the aim of this really is to help you enjoy peaceful walks where your dog feels confident and not reactive. Your dog is calm at home, they're not destructive or barking excessively. Your dog is able to rest peacefully instead of pacing. And you and your dog have a better bond, and you can really enjoy having fun together. So there's a lot of different ways that we can do this. So first of all, we want to use essential oils to calm and soothe. And I've covered this a lot in previous blogs and podcasts, and there's resources, and I'll link in the show notes my aromatherapy guide as well. But then we also want to look at some practical tools as well. So play that we can do in the garden, play with noise, getting them interacting with different sounds, because that will help build their confidence as well. And I've got some YouTube videos that I will share in the link, so you can have a watch of those, because it's going to make more sense if you're watching rather than hearing me talk. But it's all about different small little steps and having a think. And play is great for building confidence. And when we use essential oils in conjunction with play, we can get real good results. Now, it's really important when we've got a dog that's fearful that we do need to help them build resilience, and actually shutting them away from everything and avoiding things isn't actually the way. We want to expose them to different triggers in a controlled manner. So we need to work. The way I like to explain it is, if you're a runner and you want to increase your 5K personal best, just running at your same pace isn't going to do that. You need to have periods throughout your run where you go full out. So you do some sprints, maybe for 30 seconds, maybe for 60 seconds. And you do that a few times during your run. I always like to sprint finish as well. And what that helps is that builds your resilience and allows you to be able to run faster. And it's exactly the same with our dogs. We want to have controlled exposures to different things that are triggering for them, working at the toxic end of the tolerable stress continuum before coming back. So, even just an exposure where perhaps they're seeing a dog in the distance at a point that's comfortable for them, you're going to walk very close further into a point that's perhaps getting a little bit more uncomfortable before withdrawing and doing that. And then obviously with play as well, we can do different play that works on different sound with sound triggers, again building confidence, building just more resilience with behavior in different environments. For example, I have what I used to do with Inca, because traffic noise was a huge thing. I used to go out into the car park where I live and just do some little play with her out there. So she wasn't actually having to interact with on the path. She was a bit away from it, but it was building her resilience up. Different things you can do on walks is things like go sniff and some, little heel work, let's go, lots of different activities. And like I said, I'm going to share with you in the show notes of this some playful little exercises you can do. Now, I've actually put together a new workshop called The Quiet Confidence, Helping Your Anxious Dog Thrive in a Busy World. It is free, so why not come along to my next workshop? If you're listening to this after the workshop's on, I usually do have other events as well, so you can check that out, or feel free to contact me for finding some other tips and tricks. But, there is loads of ways that you can actually help your dog thrive. And using a combined approach with essential oils and behavior modifications, utilizing play, is really going to help your dog build resilience and increase their confidence and start enjoying things that you want them to enjoy and that they will enjoy. Because seeing an anxious dog want to go for a walk when previously they wouldn't is literally the most joyful thing. So I hope that's been helpful. If you've got any comments and you want to know more, obviously feel free to comment or send me a link directly. Please hit the follow or the subscribe button. If you can share this with someone who they will find it useful, that would be really great as well. As always, let me know what you want to learn about as well, so I can make sure I create more content specifically for you as well. Stay safe, stay well. Bye.